Got a little echo going on, or is that me? Okay. And welcome everyone here. We have 4 of our council members here, and we'll excuse council member Todd Williams, who is out of town this evening. So anyway, welcome council, and welcome those of the staff that have joined us, and we'll move right into our first item of our work session here is our discussion on our secondary water.
We were going to recognize some employees tonight, but we have an employee that can't make it because they have some sick kids at home, and so we're going to postpone that to October 19th. But we had some employees that did some outstanding service, particularly during our boil order, that we wanted to recognize. So we were going to do that tonight. We're going to move that to next month. The secondary water, which I sent an email last week, maybe 10 days ago, where Marty had kind of put everything together. Marty's not going to be here tonight, and so he informed me that our water use has stayed on the same level where it's been the last couple months, which is it's down to the percentage that we feel like we are conserving at this point. But the recommendation from staff is that we would stop our secondary service on October 4th, that Monday. Normally we carry into October 15th, that's our goal, depending on our water situation. We feel it'd be best, because right now we're using our reserve water that's held up in Deer Creek. So whatever we don't use at this point, we can carry over into next year. That carryover water this year has really been what saved us. There are some years we don't have to use our carryover water because we get enough regular rain and snow to take care of us, but obviously this year was a year where we pretty much used almost all of it. So if we can turn off our secondary water on October 4th, that could save us up to close to 2 weeks worth of water that we can carry over into next year. Now, we might not have to use it. Cross our fingers, that would be awesome. That means we would have a great winter as far as our snowpack, but if we have another rough year with the snowpack, then we're going to need that extra 2 weeks worth of water. So that would be the recommendation of staff, but looking for feedback from you on how you'd want to proceed.
Council.
Why not the 1st?
October 1st is a Friday. I think the 4th is a Monday. So I think as far as we'll be fully staffed on a Monday, we're not fully staffed on the Friday.
Why does that matter, though?
Well, because it takes a lot of people to turn the system off. Yeah. And so that was the reason he picked October 4th.
Do we have other contingencies just in case next year is a rough year?
Yeah, we'll be engaging the city of Orem. In the past, we've bought water off of them. They generally have enough water to take care of their city, and they have extra. So we bought water from them 2 years in a row, probably 5 or 6 years ago when we had a low water year. We will be engaging with discussions because there might be other cities hitting them up, and we want to be first in line. We won't know. We'll have a decent idea probably January, February where we're at, and if it's not looking very good in January, February, we're probably going to need to purchase that water. So that would in essence become our reserve at that point. And they have water up in Deer Creek. We would just purchase it, and then we can bring it down into our system. So that would be our intent. We will have some carryover water, probably not a ton. Not enough to get us through a full year on a low water year, but at least enough to help us out. So that's our backup plan, Eric.
Okay.
Anything, Diane?
No, I'd support that.
Okay, so we'll start advertising that, letting people know. I think people will be they'll understand with this being when we say a drought year, it's been a drought few years. A couple years ago we did have a good snowpack. It was 130%, and I think that was 2 years ago. Last year was 60-some percent. This year was 60-some percent. So
we're in the 3rd year of a wet cycle.
Yeah. Well, a
dry
wet
cycle.
Dry cycle.
No. We are supposed to be. So for the history of Utah, this would be the 3rd year
Really?
Supposed to be a third year?
So in the 7-year blocks,
Uh-huh.
this is supposed to be the third year.
Supposed to
of
be,
the
but
rec.
it's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's correct. And so if we have a good water year next year, that's great. We need probably, I mean, I can remember back in 2011, when I was first here, we had a huge water year. We had to run water down Fifth South, if you remember that, or Fifth North, I mean, Grove Creek Boulevard, in order to dump it into the canal before they piped it. And that was, and all the reservoirs were full. I mean, I think in the whole state, everything filled up. But obviously, full reservoirs only can carry you a couple of years before they need to fill back up. And there's not a single reservoir that's full at this moment, so that's what we're hoping for. Okay, so we'll move forward. We'll start letting the public know and then work towards doing that on October 4th.
Okay. Well, should we move on to and go over tonight's agenda?
Well, let's do
wanna do
the staff
staff?
reports first, if that's
Okay,
okay, and then
we'll
we'll
do
go
that.
over the agenda.
So staff, I'll open it up to you. Who wants to, those, you don't have to, but who would like to come forward and address the council with your staff report? Don't all the directors rush the podium at once? Sherry?
Well done.
So, okay, it was
It was.
a big turnout. I was really,
Sherry, what about, when's the Harry Potter coming up event? You might as well just come up at this point.
Let's get you on record, Sherry.
Yeah.
Harry Potter was scheduled for last Saturday,
Oh,
and we canceled because there was a thunderstorm
because a lot of it's outside.
scheduled.
Is it because a lot of it's outside, or?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Most of it was planned to be
Oh.
outside. It was, we get way too many people to have it inside. So we canceled. But we are doing a scavenger hunt. We kept the decorations up, and we're doing a Harry Potter scavenger hunt all this week instead.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's still really fun, and people have been, I've been watching people walk around and they're still having fun.
Okay.
So they just come pick up the stuff at the library and go do, okay.
Yeah,
And it's free?
yeah.
And when is the PG Players going this fall? Are they doing their play like in a?
They
sorry,
are, I
or-
don't know when it is. It's a good
Look
question.
on,
Okay. But they should be doing one this fall, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you guys have going on? The skeleton reading, right? Or not the skeleton, but the Halloween.
Yes, we do
Stories.
have the stories, the virtual Halloween stories.
Okay.
And if you haven't picked your book yet,
It is so much fun.
Been
I
there,
just
done
love
that.
it.
they are fun. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, thanks, Sherry.
okay, thank you. Any other staff members who would like to come forward? Well, this is great.
Tyler's trying to think of something to say.
With the, no, I think they're good. So,
I have a question for police, because we know we have a fill-in tonight. We want to put him on the spot.
come on up. You asked yourself, what did I do to deserve this?
No. No, so I already stopped by and asked. I know the answer to this, but I thought he could inform us all. This last week, we had a little bit of a manhunt here in Pleasant Grove, and I think it's still ongoing, and just to let people know.
Yeah, so we've got 5 or 6 really good leads on this guy. We've got some undercovers with major crimes working alongside of us as well. We're just trying to track him down. We know he's bouncing between a couple different houses, and it's just trying to find him there at the time. It sounds like he's just kind of roaming the city, sleeping in bushes, just crashing wherever he can. So it's hard to catch up with somebody like that when they just don't have anywhere to go. So,
Wow.
but the public's safe. There's no active threat or anything like that, so we'll get him.
Okay, I'm good.
Is this down in your hood?
No, well,
Okay.
we've seen him around city center area, right? So we know that he hangs around, so yeah.
Yeah, he's been caught on 8 or 9 Ring doorbells throughout the east side of the city, here downtown. So, you know, he's just wandering. So we've had a lot of good input from the community as well. So we're just working on all the leads.
And that is my question, what can we do? What can a resident do?
Yeah, we put a post out on Facebook with his picture. So if anybody does see him, you know, don't approach him, don't contact him, just call 911 and let him know that the fugitive from this weekend, you know, that you've seen him, where he's at, get a good description of what he's wearing, and just be a really good witness. Just see with your eyes and report back to us.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
thank you.
I have a question for Dion.
Okay, Dion,
I just wanted to walk up.
Dion, would you come up? Councilmember Jensen is making it difficult this evening.
Well, it's a slow walk. No, so there's some excitement moving on, the medians out there going on. Tell us what's going on there.
Yeah, they're doing a pretty good job. They started last week, I think. I was down there earlier this afternoon. They had most of it planted. So I haven't, I'm not sure when they're going to be getting the rock in, but it should be, the way they're moving, I would expect it probably Thursday or Friday. So that thing will be wrapped up pretty quick.
So, yeah, rock and then the grass and then I think you were doing some drip system or whatever in there, right?
Yeah, they've been, so from basically doTERRA to Macy's is complete, other than the rock. And they were working on doTERRA to the on-ramp planning today. So they are planting some new trees also. So we're excited to have that one about wrapped up.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you. Well, with that, Scott, then we'll go over our agenda this evening.
So let's start with Denise, and she'll come up and, no, we do have 3 public hearing items. So we'll go over these in this meeting, but then we'll do a re-presentation in council meeting because it will be a public hearing. But we'll have Denise go over the budget amendment and then also our consolidated fee schedule. Yeah. Well, yeah. However. Yeah.
Okay, so we have 2 resolutions tonight, and we're doing them separately. No, they're both sort of budget items. So the first one is a budget amendment, which the first item is that we're appropriating funds to hire a second construction inspector, and we'll be using development inspection fees to cover that expense. With Utopia being here, just that alone is going to probably keep this inspector pretty busy, and then the projects that we have going out in the Grove. So that's how we pay for, it's Ryan Sabia right now. So we'll be using additional development inspection fees to do that. And then the next one is the brush truck that the fire department will be getting. We appropriated $160,000 in our one-time capital money with the expectation that we'd have to maybe pay off the fire truck loan early, and we're not going to need to do that because the fire truck is not here yet. So we're going to be able to structure that for our first payment to be next year. So that left us with the $160,000. And then fire department will be using some of their monies with the fires that they've been going to. They will use the $55,000 from them to purchase that. So that's just moving money to be able to do that. And then the next one is just making some changes to the fee schedule that we adopted with the budget. And pretty minor, the library has an interlibrary loan fee that was $3 that we're moving to $4. And then we have a few changes in the construction fees, just some way that we're going to be charging construction companies when they do cuts in the road for the asphalt patch, and then raising the cost of the crack seal. I think it was $225 and it's going to $250. And then just the way we bill for secondary water for multifamily development complexes. So we'll have an amount in there of $18.61 for multifamily, so that they're not getting charged the $37.21 because they don't have as much area to irrigate. So just those things that will be changing. Any questions?
Okay. Thank you. Our action items for tonight.
Sorry, let's have Daniel come up. He'll do item 9C,
Oh, okay,
and then
right,
items
okay,
10C and D.
Okay.
So Daniel, if you want to cover the rezone and then also the site plan and plat.
And the site plan and plat?
Yep, so do all three of them.
Fantastic. Can I use the screen? There you go. Let me go really close to connect.
We raised accumulation of junk on code enforcing.
9545. Okay, Mayor, Council, so one of the items that we're going to have later on today as a public hearing is going to be for a rezone. It's for a rezone of a tiny piece of land. It's 0.24 of an acre. And it's actually a sliver piece of land. I'm going to show it to you. I want to show you this map. This is the zoning map of Pleasant Grove City, of the Grove area. You know, when we talk about multifamily, and that we don't, I don't know if you guys remember it, when I wrote that report about multifamily, that we were almost above 30%. It was a number that it was quite high. And then we decided that we were not gonna rezone any of these areas anymore for multifamily. However, we do have some zones that are already zoned for multifamily. This right here, this is Evermore. This is Urban Grove, right here. And if we can take a look at this, all this area of land that is just right behind Urban Grove is already zoned for multifamily. That's kind of like the last area that we have for multifamily, 12 units per acre. That's the density that we have. So I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna zoom in on this a little bit more, and I wanna focus on this parcel right here. Ooh. Okay, this parcel right here, this is the shape of the parcel. With my mouse, I'm gonna go around this parcel so you guys can take a look at it. The parcel goes all the way right here, and here, and here, and goes down. So this is kind of like a Dalmatian of a parcel, because it has spots of different zones. Right here is mixed housing, but then here we got the commercial cell sub-district of the Grove, and here we have more commercial cell sub-district. So we have a developer, a plan, someone approached the city and went to DRC, and they're gonna develop this piece of land around this area right here. Now, on that area, they're gonna do what is permitted. They're gonna do some townhomes, they're gonna do some single-family dwellings as well. It's gonna be a mix. That's why it's called the mixed housing. That's what they're gonna do. Now, when someone develops a site plan like this, there's multiple requirements that we have. There's not only requirements on density, but we require X amount of trees, we require X amount of open areas, we require amenities, we require all this type of stuff. So when you actually, it's not just putting the homes right there, but okay, what area is gonna be dedicated for open space and things like that. So when the developer was working on this property, he realized that for the density that he was going for, the 561 units, he could put all the homes right there, but there was not enough space for open space requirements. He could not meet the open space requirements. So what the applicant is proposing is still in this parcel, in the same parcel, to extend the line, this line right here, that is the border between the mixed housing and the commercial cells in the same parcel, to extend it a little bit down. Meaning, I'm gonna draw something really fast here. And Tina, will you tell me if I'm going into much detail, please? Or if I'm okay still?
You're fine.
Okay. Okay, so what the applicant is, thank you, Tina. What the applicant is proposing is to rezone some sort of like this. That tiny little sliver of land right there. It's about 0.24 of an acre. The width of this is about 25 feet. That's what the applicant is proposing. So that's what the rezone is going to be at. When I was talking to the developer, one of the ideas that we talk about this is instead of just having a bunch of grass or just open space, to do some sort of like a doggy park. You know, there's a lot of puppies running all over the place right here without a place to be. So it's part of the amenity. They're going to use it for an amenity. They're not going to, at least until today, or what the applicant mentioned, they're not going to do an increase of density. They already have the site plan set at 61 units, but you never know, right? I mean, if the project doesn't happen, maybe someone else comes, sees the entire area, and it goes for that density. The applicant right now does have an application for a plat and for a site plan. We're working on it. I think we're in the second review with it. But then the applicant realized, oh, I need a little bit of extra land to accommodate or to fit to meet all the requirements that we have. So that's what the rezone is about. It's about, that's why it's so little, and it comes just extending the border of the mixed housing sub-district, okay? So that's what the rezone is about. Now, the other item that I have.
Daniel, will you review what the Planning Commission recommendation was on that?
Yes, so this item went to the Planning Commission, and I had 5 commissioners on that meeting, and the vote was 3-2. It was a positive recommendation of approval.
So, question really quick, Mayor. Daniel, what was there a reasoning behind those 2? Maybe I could wait for their public hearing, but
You're going to get the same presentation
okay.
again in the public.
So there had to be some discussion going on, because if it was 3-2, there had to be some concern there. And so my question is, though, and maybe it's related to it or not, is this 0.24 acres, is that enabling them to add more units, or like you said, no? According to what's on plan?
They could, if they want, but they won't be able to meet their open space requirement. So just based on the open space requirements, no, they cannot add any more.
So basically, the 2.24 is hopefully for more open space?
It has to be.
Okay.
It has to be. However, if you don't, in a hypothetical case that area is not rezoned, then he needs to provide open space somewhere else, eliminating some of the dwellings that he already has on the property. So can I talk about what the Planning Commission said, Tina? I always dream about looking to my attorney and asking questions. That's like in the movies, right?
May I talk about this? We all kind of look at her.
So, 2 of the planning commissioners, as you guys can see, is extending the border and runs into the commercial use, the sales tax, the commercial cells, the commercial cells sub-district. So they had a concern and said, well, we're making our commercial cells a little smaller. However, the other 3 members, and as well as the staff, would think that it doesn't make really a difference, 0.24 of an acre. It's 25 feet. In reality, a concern that some of those members had is like, we're reducing our opportunity for a sales tax base, but based on the type of development that is going on in the area, there's no way we're going to have retail in that area. It's complicated. And the way I say is because even the neighboring property right there, it's being used for office use. And they struggle a long time to get it, to get people to occupy the building until finally, like, was it like 3 months ago when they got the gym on the top, that building is finally fully occupied. So that was a concern, but then the other members say, hey, in their consideration, it wasn't, the impact wasn't big enough to deny the application. So that was the discussion we had at the planning commission level. Okay?
Okay, anything? Okay, we'll look forward to that public hearing. Why don't you move into our items will be up, business, and do 10C and D while you're
Yeah,
there.
those two, mayor and council, those two are a plat and a site plan in the Grove area by North County Boulevard, Daniel Thomas property. And what they're doing is they amending the property line so they can create a new lot where they're gonna put a new commercial building. It's a multi-tenant commercial building. If the applicant shows up, maybe we can ask him what type of business are going right there. But as far as staff is concerned, there's gonna be a commercial uses right there. It's like a little strip mall type of a building. So pretty much that's, in a nutshell, that's what it is.
How many tenants they can get in there? Or is that dependent on who they get?
I think so, because those are, so we're not at the TI improvement
Right, yeah.
portion yet, so sometimes they can be very small. Those are really nice because you can put different type of walls, and we actually settled down on something at the time of a building permit or a TI permit, a tenant improvement.
Questions, council? Okay.
So
move on.
again, it's two items. One is the plat, and the other one is the site plan.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, that concludes those, then thank you,
My
Daniel.
pleasure, Mayor.
And we'll now look at 10A, and Dion, would you want to come up and tell us why you're getting rid of two perfectly good F-150 Ford pickups?
Yeah, so this is part of our vehicle rotation plan, so they're just up on their dates, and we've actually already got the new ones, so we'll just get these surplused and get them out.
So you finally got the new ones then, huh?
Yeah, Denise was awesome this year and let us get the new ones, because it's usually a process of going 3 months without a vehicle for somebody. So this year we were able to get the vehicles prior and then sell these two, so
Okay.
worked out really good. So they're in the new vehicles, and the other ones are already sold. We're just waiting to surplus them.
Okay, thank you. And action, item 10B.
Aaron
Address-
Wilson's, our
Okay.
city engineer, is going to handle this one. He's pinch hitting tonight.
It's all right, I can do it. So this item that's before you tonight, Mayor and the members of the council, is an engineering contract with RB&G Engineering out of Provo. We did a competitive bid process for this project, and this is, we've talked about this, I know Marty's talked to you about this probably over the last couple of years. What this is for the design of 2600 North. So we have 2 MAG projects that we've won. We're still working on that contract. So that contract with MAG has not come before you yet, but it will be forthcoming, and we're working on that with MAG. But this is just to get that engineering going so that we are not delaying the construction of this next year. We'd like to try and get this whole thing constructed if we can next year. And so we need to get that engineering going now. It's part of the approved budget and those kinds of things, so we're all set and ready to go on that. And RB&G was the top winner of our RFP selection process.
So tell us a little bit about the time frame. When do you think they'll be going out for bid?
So we're looking, all the people that presented had good timeframes, and we kind of told them when we wanted it, and generally in the February, March timeframe. So that's what we're looking for, is we're hoping that as early in February we can go out to bid as possible, but it may be into March, just kind of depending on that review process as we're going through that. But it should be that kind of late February, early March is when we should be getting our construction contract out to bid, and then probably starting about the first part of April.
And should be completed next year by,
Yeah, the construction should be completed by the end of October, all the paving and everything. We're adding curb gutter and sidewalk, I believe, on most of that area, if not on all of it. I know the curb and gutter, but I don't know if we're doing sidewalk on both sides of the road. I can't remember the details of that right now, but I know we're adding curb and gutter and making the full width of the street. there's some areas that have to be narrowed because there's some steep slopes to the south that we have to narrow that just a little bit, but those, that will still have a good full width asphalt and those things that will be able to help that road be better.
And you said that will go all the way from 100 East, all the way
To the
down
city
to
border,
the city
yep,
border. That's
with
awesome.
American Fork.
And that includes a traffic light at Canyon Road is?
I don't, the traffic light itself is not
Not in this
included
project?
yet, but it hasn't warranted yet. We've done, I think they did a preliminary study when the county came through, and it didn't warrant at that time, and so once that warrants, then we'll be able to put that in with the county.
So, but the one, we're moving ahead with the one on we already moved ahead
1800
on
North, yeah,
18.
that will be going out to bid very soon.
That's interesting that that one warrants and that one on that intersection doesn't, so,
Because it's pretty much the same traffic.
same traffic.
Actually, there's
Well,
no,
other
it
than-
has to be.
I think there's more on 1800 North, particularly now because that road goes all the way through over to American Fork and things. And so once American Fork completes their project and punches 700 North through from First East to Second East in American Fork, then that will likely also warrant, because that's gonna be like a direct connection over to Costco and some of those major hubs. So it's kind of, with traffic engineering, sometimes it's, you have to build it before you can actually before it actually warrants and you can actually do it. So in this case, that's one of those things, but I think it'll warrant fairly soon after.
So on 2600, our project just stops at our city limits, or does it go
It
all
stops
the
at
way
the city
down to
limits.
North Canyon, I mean, to the
North County.
North
Yeah,
County
It'll
Boulevard?
stop just right at the city limits there,
Okay.
at least now. There is a possibility we could negotiate with MAG and see if we could complete that all the way through, but I don't know if that's the case, if they have funds to do that or not.
Okay, all right, well, any questions thank you for coming in tonight.
You're welcome.
So that's all of our action items this evening, and so that's pretty well our agenda, other than we will appoint Lindsay to our planning commission. Hopefully you guys said you were all right with that, so anyway. Anything else, Scott, that we need to?
You know, we would have hit this right on 5:30 if we would have had our initial presentation, but since that canceled on us, I think we're going to be done a little bit early for the work session.
So if there's nothing else we need to bring, yes, go ahead, come up. You've got 25 minutes. Okay.
I talk way too fast to fill 25 minutes, or at least I feel like I do. I just feel like I probably should give you guys a couple updates. I meant to kind of stand up before. We've got a lot of construction projects still going on around the city now, and we're going to be ramping up actually on a couple more, so I just kind of wanted to give you a brief update. On First West, we're just finishing up the work, and they should be paving in the next couple of weeks. They've had some issues with their paving, and so they got pushed back or something, and so they will be, they're prepping and doing some other things. I even saw them out there today doing some of that work, but they will be doing that paving in the next week or two, finalizing that up. We have I think it was just at our last council meeting, we approved our construction contract with Geneva to do our microservicing, and so we're going to be ramping that up very quickly. We had a brief meeting with them, and they're still developing all their schedule and everything, so we'll have more of that in the future. But within the next couple weeks, we expect to be starting some of the milling on and some of the microservicing, so we can get that done before the temperatures get too cold and things like that. So that project is moving forward. And that's a lot of the area around PG Boulevard and then 1300 West and some of those areas kind of in there that we need to, our main collector roads that have higher traffic. And so we're going to be hitting a lot of that area down there, and then trying to get out of there before, like UDOT does some of their projects next year. UDOT has their big project that they're doing at North County Boulevard and PG Boulevard, where they're widening that. And I think Marty talked about that at the last meeting, where they'll be widening lanes and turn lanes and things like that. And we've coordinated with them, and so we'll do our microsurface up to where they're going to do their microsurface, and then that way we'll get that, all of PG Boulevard there will be a nice, good surface and last us for a few more years and get that pavement preservation that we need there.
That brings one question up. I call it Diana's Road, but 300 East, where are we at with that?
300 East is a good one to have an update on too. So Kilgore, they came back out and they had to mill down some of the areas of the asphalt that was bad. I'm sure you guys had a lot of reports on that before I ever even started here. And so what the resolution ended up that they came out and there was areas that we couldn't guarantee the integrity of, so under warranty, they came out and they milled down the surface and put back a new surface. And so that's down and done now, and so we'll let that sit for another year or so and make sure that that's good, and then we'll do a microsurface on that area next year is the plan. It was on our original plan for this year, but we decided to wait to give it that warranty so we don't cover up something that so we can make sure that we get that taken care of. And I'm sure they did a good job. I know we had an inspector out there most of the time, and he reported back that they were doing good things, so.
I don't think that it's been, I don't know that it's been cleaned up after they laid it out, so I would love to.
We will check into that and make sure that things get cleaned up.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. You know, how many times we need to repave your street?
I know, till it's done right.
Till it's done right. Okay. All right, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Well, is there any other council members that have anything else for any of the staff members that are here?
Are we just pushing for time here?
Well,
Or-
sorry, I can go over our agenda in 2 weeks
Okay,
for our meeting,
All right.
while we have a few minutes.
that'd be great.
It's almost like there's a BYU game on tonight that we need to be ready.
It'd be
for.
nice, there's not, but and just for your information, I'll be gone. Our next council meeting, I've got my ICMA conference, so Tina will be running the show as far as that's concerned. So just like when she's gone, we get to do a lot of fun things. You can, with me gone, you can, well, Tina will still be here, so you won't have much fun, but yeah. We want to recognize past Mayor Lloyd Ash, who passed away a little bit ago. So we have a little plaque that's going to identify his term here, and the Mayor Figo will invite the family, and we'll give them that and tell them thanks for his service. We also have, this is our work session. Tamara Oborn will be here to do a Communities That Care presentation, just kind of get you updated on what she has going on. So those are our 2 items right now for work session. For our council meeting, we have is this a parameters resolution for the Grove Well? So we're borrowing money from the state in order to drill a well out in the Grove. And we'll be approaching you with a parameters resolution in order to do that. This is a much-needed addition to our water resources. And so the state, we can get really cheap money. Denise, do you know? I think we're at 2%. At 2%? Yeah, so we can get the money at 2%, and it's about a $5 million project in order to do this. But what you'll have in front of you is the parameters resolution to have us move forward to proceed on that project. We'll also have something in front of you on the light for 1800 North and First East to begin that process. This says property. Do we have to?
In order to install the signal light at 1800 North and First East, there are 2 very small pieces of property we need to acquire from the property owners on 2 of the corners. And so we've worked out a purchase agreement with them. It's a very small dollar amount, very small amount of, one's like 42 square feet, and the other one's like 78 square feet. And then also we're agreeing to, in one case, give them money to replace the landscaping that we're disturbing with our project, and in the other case, we're agreeing to actually replace the landscaping for them. So they're pretty small agreements, but they're just 2 purchase agreements. That'll be on the agenda. And also, we will all hopefully have an agreement with a gentleman by the name of Clay Liston for a subdivision called Merrill Liston Estates, I believe. And he is developing in an area where we have some deficiencies in our storm drain system, and part of his subdivision, he's going to do some extra work that he's would not normally be required to do. And this is a reimbursement agreement where we have come to a number that we've agreed upon that we would pay him to do that work for us as part of his project. It saves us money, and it also improves it benefits his subdivision as well. Evermore local consent, every year they do a Halloween activity, and we're still waiting for their information, so I don't have any details to give you, just that they are anticipating asking for local consent to serve alcoholic beverages at an event, a special event around Halloween.
And our last item, at least for now, is that we've been awarded a grant to put the bathroom up at Kiwanis Park at the Battle Creek trailhead there for $100,000. And so there's some approvals that we need from you in order to get that money situated. So we will have that paperwork in front of you. Just as far as we're looking at our meeting schedule, so for October, we'll have our typical first and third Tuesdays, so that'll be the 5th and the 19th. In November, on the 2nd is election day. I mean, not for us, but for the rest of the state. We're trying to figure out whether we were, I don't think we're allowed to hold a meeting on an election night.
I don't think so.
Per state law, but we'll figure that out. But the assumption is we will not be meeting on November 2nd. So we'll be meeting on November 9th, and we might need to meet again on the 16th. The reason being is there's 5 Tuesdays in November. And the 23rd is the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, so we'd like to avoid that as a meeting day. So if we're going to do our 2 meetings in November, it'll likely be the 9th and the 16th, and we'll let you know. The 9th for sure we'll be meeting. Depend on agenda items, we'll let you know on the 16th. And then in December, I can't remember what the day is in December. The first Tuesday in December right now we have scheduled as a meeting. We generally try to have just 1 meeting in December, but depending on, usually if we have a development issue, people that need approvals for development, then we might have a second meeting in December. But for right now, we're just planning on the first Tuesday in December. So if you want to mark your calendars, that's where we're headed. So that's all we have as
Okay,
staff.
thank you. That we've finished our work session for this evening, and ask for a motion to adjourn from our work session.
So moved.
We have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion